Allison Carter hadn't stepped foot in her childhood home since the winter she left at 17, barefoot, crying and swearing she'd never come back. But funerals have a way of forcing closed doors open again. Cut to old, creaky house in rural Ohio. Overcast skies. Her mother was dead from a slow, cruel illness that took more than just breath. It stole time, apologies, closure. And now, here Allison was, boots muddy, face tight, avoiding everyone's eyes at the funeral like they held judgments she didn't care to hear. Narrator, sharper tone. They whispered. She didn't even talk to her mother for years. Left without saying goodbye, too much ink on her skin to ever forgive anything. Cut to dim hallway, Allison walking upstairs. She didn't cry at the funeral, didn't speak. She just watched the casket like it was some stranger's luggage being loaded into a train she wasn't catching. But the real story, this one, began the moment she stepped into her old bedroom. Same faded walls, same crooked window, same scratch on the desk where she carved a heart and then X'd it out. And under the bed, in a plastic box covered in dust, was a shoebox, taped shut, labeled in shaky handwriting. For Allison, please read. Narrator, soft, eerie, inside letters, dozens, each one dated, each one addressed to her. Unsent. Zoom in on letter marked 2007, age 18. She opened the top one. The ink had bled slightly as if the paper itself had wept. Voiceover, her mother, read like a memory. Do you still draw monsters on your arms when the nightmares keep you awake? I used to wonder if they protected you, or if they were me. Pause. Allison sits down, stunned. Narrator, quieter. Allison hadn't thought of those drawings in years, how she'd cover her skin in Sharpie tattoos to stay sane. She thought her mother never noticed, but she did. She noticed everything. And maybe she cared more than Allison ever believed. Cut to Allison staring out the window, holding the letter. Narrator, building tension. She should have stopped reading, should have burned the box, should have kept the anger close like she always did. But the letters had teeth, and they were starting to bite. Fade out with ominous hum and one sentence on screen. The next letter held a secret she never wanted to know. I didn't come to your graduation because I couldn't look you in the eyes, not after what I'd done. Low ambient tone, flickering images of high school photos, graduation gowns and car taillights fading in the distance. Narrator, somber, reflective. The second letter had no fancy opening, no Dear Allison, just a date, June 2. The day Allison graduated. Cut to Allison on her childhood bed, letter in trembling hands. She never expected her mother to show up. Had told herself it didn't matter, but when she crossed the stage and scanned the crowd, just in case, it still hurt when the seat was empty. Voiceover, her mother. I watched from the parking lot. That's the truth. I was too much of a coward to walk inside. I thought you'd see my face and remember what I did. Narrator, shocked, questioning what she did. Cut to flashback, a dim road, screeching tires, hospital lights. The letter unraveled it all. 3 months before graduation, Allison's mom had been in a wreck. She hit a man. He lived barely, but the guilt crushed her. The town whispered, and instead of facing it, she hid, isolated, from neighbors, from friends, from her daughter. Voiceover, her mother. I wanted to be better. I wanted to show up, but my shame was louder than your voice. So I wrote instead, hoping that one day you'd read this, and know I was always there, even if I didn't deserve to be. Cut to Allison pacing, her breath sharp, eyes wet. Narrator, emotionally tense. Allison's fists clenched. She had begged for answers back then, thought her mom was just drunk, selfish. But this was something else. This was fear in ink. Cut to town diner, locals watching her enter. And outside that house, in the heart of a town that hadn't changed, people still looked at her like her mother's sins lived in her skin. Narrator, sarcastic bite. Funny how forgiveness is a rumor until someone's dead. Cut to Allison in attic, finding more box. Another stack of letters, years untouched. Narrator, softening, but she couldn't stop now, because each envelope didn't just explain a moment, it rebuilt her memory of her mother. Not the monster, not the coward, but the complicated, broken, trying woman behind the silence. And then she found one, still sealed, still yellowed, addressed not to her, but to someone else entirely. Fade out with whispered echo. If you're reading this, it means I never got the chance to meet you. If this reaches you, it means Allison forgave me, or at least tried. You are my second chance. Slow heartbeat like music begins. Faint echo of children laughing, then fading. Narrator. Soft haunted. The envelope was different, thicker, sealed in wax. The handwriting still hers, but steadier as if written with clarity. Allison hadn't yet seen in any of the others, but it wasn't addressed to her. It read, "To the child my daughter will one day have, if she ever forgives me enough to bring one into this world." Cut to Allison sitting in the attic, frozen. She hadn't told anyone, not yet. Barely 5 weeks along, she hadn't even decided if she wanted to keep it. Narrator, whispering, but her mother, somehow knew. Voiceover, her mother. "I don't know if I'll live long enough to meet you, but I already love you. You are the proof that love can survive mistakes, that my daughter still believes in something better than me." Cut to Allison reading aloud, shaking. Voiceover, Contid, "If Allison ever gives you this letter, it means she chose softness over anger. It means she didn't let me ruin everything." Cut to a montage of Allison's childhood, slamming doors, drawings on her skin, running barefoot in the snow. Narrator, growing with emotion. The letter wasn't a plea for forgiveness, it was a legacy, a roadmap of how to raise a child with all the lessons her mother learned too late. Let them feel heard. Never shame the sadness. Always show up, especially when you want to hide. Cut to Allison at the local park, sitting on a bench, letter in hand, watching other kids play. For the first time in her life, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt full, full of words she once begged for, full of understanding. And with her hand on her belly, she whispered one thing to the sky. "You were right, Mom. I don't draw monsters anymore." Music fades. Black screen. Narrator. Closing line. Because sometimes, healing doesn't start with answers. It starts with a letter that wasn't meant for you.